It's time for a new weekly challenge, and this time we are going all in on self-awareness. If you're not gonna stick around to hear all the details, the objectives of this week's challenge is to find out what your inner childhood passions are, what you used to just crave, what you used to enjoy the heck out of, but maybe you have outsourced throughout your life. Maybe you don't do it that much, or maybe you still do it, but we are gonna outline what really means something to you, what really gets you in the state of flow. And we are also gonna ask a couple of persons what they think about us, what we're good at, and what maybe isn't our strong suit. That is this week's challenge, and stay tuned and I will tell you all the details. So this new year actually means we're gonna start over in one sense. I felt that maybe we have been a bit too random. We've been focusing in on small details that may be very important in some contexts, but on an overall level, it really doesn't add that much value if we haven't fixed those fundamental issues within ourselves. Or maybe it's not issues, maybe just something that needs some clarification. Who am I? Who are you? But I want to start to develop our core. And a big part of that is being self-aware. So how do we define self-awareness? Well, it's a matter of having a clear perception of who you are. What are your likings? What are you good at? What are you bad at? What are your opinions? What drives you? Who are you? That's what self-awareness is all about. And if we can't answer those questions, how are we supposed to have a direction in life? Those things are what will give us the answer for where we want to go. That's why it's so important to get clarity on this topic. When we were children, we did so many things that just wasn't questioned. We wasn't put into these limiting beliefs or opinions or ideas of who we should be. We just did things. You always had a craving for something special. Maybe you always liked to draw pictures. Maybe you always was so interested in just those technical gears. How did they work? Or maybe you're just into some kind of sport. I don't know. But that's what this week is part of. Finding out what our true passions are. Because those things, those areas, they are keys to unlocking the pathways to our life path. The way we should go about life, what we should do, how we should spend our time. And yes, I'm partially talking about our work, because that is what we're gonna spend most of our time doing. And if we choose the wrong path there, it is gonna take us down the wrong path, and we won't be happy there. I know, because I started that journey. I felt that way. But I looked at myself. I became self-aware, and I course corrected. And boy, do I freaking love my life right now. I don't know in clarity where I'm gonna go, but I have a damn good direction in which way I should move in. And that is what I'm doing every day. And that is a state I want you to reach as well, because then it's not an issue getting up early in the morning. It's an issue sleeping enough hours, because you do wake up too early, too goddamn excited about the day that lies ahead of you. All the things you're gonna do, all the growth you're gonna do, how you're gonna move towards your dream goals. That is what we're aiming for.
If you don't do this, you're going to end up in deep shit, because you're going to turn 40 years old, you're going to be at a job that you hate, you're going to be really depressed, and you're going to be at an age where you don't have the energy to make a big change, and you're going to be screwed. And particularly in the world today, where things are moving so quickly and there's so many dead-end careers, you've got to be light on your feet, and you've got to be, I think, have an entrepreneurial spirit. You don't want to be at that point. So it is life and death. You're not thinking of it right now as life and death, but it is. It really is.
So that leads us up to the objectives of this week. And it's actually going to be divided into some part steps. Now you may do it all in one sitting or session. Firstly, on Monday, you are going to sit down, think about what are your core passions. Look back to your inner child. What was it that you were doing when you were a kid? We all have some things in life that we just naturally feel more love to. We just enjoy it in a more intensified way. We get in the state of flow when we're doing it. But maybe we don't do it anymore. Maybe that is why we need to look back to our childhood, see ourselves again. What did we do? What did we like? What did we love? Because as we grow up, opinions started to shape us. Things that we were supposed to do started to take more time in our lives. But we need to look back at that, because those things are what is really important. Or maybe we have realized what's really fun and enjoyable for us later in life. But the idea is, with this first objective, to narrow down, write down the things that means a lot to you. These core skills, if you may call it, that just is something that you love. Because those things are what should shape your life. And being self-aware means that you know what those things are. Because then we can start to direct our focus towards them. So that is the objective number one. Writing down all the things that you just love doing or loved doing. And the second objective, well, it's gonna be a whole lot more uncomfortable, because we are gonna ask 3 persons that knows you very well and you feel comfortable with talking about these things. You're gonna ask them about 3 things that they think that you do very well, but also the hard part, 3 things that, well, maybe you aren't that good at. And this may be very hard to hear, but you have to really tell them that you need to hear this. This is for your personal development. It's soul searching. It's key for you to really get some clarity in what you are all about. Because maybe you are putting in so much time into something that you may like a little bit, but maybe you're just awful at it. And getting that clarity might be very good for you, because if you have 10 things that you love doing, but it turns out that you're quite awful at 5 of them, and they're equally important to you, maybe the 5 that's left is the ones that you should focus in on. You can't give everything attention. But in the end, the heart should lead the way, but you have to pick the ones that you're good at, because you have a limited amount of time in life, and there's a competitive world out there. So doing what you love and what you're actually good at, that's kind of the key. But that also leads us into the third objective. The last thing of the week, when you actually are going to sit down and actually look at what you now have in front of you. All the things that you are good at, all the things that people think that you are good at, the things that you like, the things that just makes you feel alive. You're gonna play now, you're gonna have fun trying to figure out a way to combine these things that actually could, in some parallel universe, be the perfect career for you.
So if you're 23 years old, it's a little easier. I love music, but I'm not a musician because I've not been practicing. I just love music. But I have a real good sense of business. I've been studying business and I have an MBA, etc. Okay, I've got to now find a way to craft a career that combines my knowledge of business and my love of music. And if I follow that and I do it smart and I plan it out, eventually What starts out with more business than music will end up becoming more creative as I get better and better at it. You've got to figure out how you can take your experience and move in a different direction, and be practical and take small steps and still feed my family, but pursue something that I love.
I'm not saying this has to be your future path, but I'm just saying you have to start play with those things. Putting a seed down in the ground, and maybe that seed will grow when you have actually started to shape some kind of future reality where all your loved skills and abilities are combined in something that you can do for a living. Now that's just an idea, that's just an outcome that we want to play with. But the first part is part of being self-aware. But we take that a step further and we see how we actually can make something out of that, because we want to find a way to have those things in our lives often and a lot. Because why shouldn't we do what we love most of the time we're alive?
You can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards. So you have to trust that the dots will somehow connect in your future. You have to trust in something, your gut, destiny, life, karma, whatever. Because believing that the dots will connect down the road will give you the confidence to follow your heart, even when it leads you off the well-worn path. And that will make all the difference.
So that is this week's challenge. The 3 objectives divided into 3 parts. First, putting down your thoughts of who you are, what you love doing. Secondly, asking people what they actually think about you. And I know this can be really hard, but it's such a good practice for you. And thirdly, actually sitting down and playing around with how a combination of this could turn out for you. But that is what this week's challenge is about. Having a clearer picture of who we are. And by that, taking one step towards a solid foundation so we can build ourselves up, because that is what this period ahead of us will be all about. With that being said, I hope you feel excited about this challenge. And if you haven't already, join us in this journey. Hit the subscribe button so we can do this together. And if you want to make sure you're gonna do this challenge, hit me up in the comments section below and commit to me. Commit to this group and tell us, I'm gonna do this challenge, because social commitment, well, it will increase your chances of following through. My name is Alexander Nilsson and I'm signing out. Thank you for watching. Bye guys.